In today's video, we're going to get into 10 Joe Judge replacements. This video first aired on our Giants Now channel by Chat Sports. You can subscribe if you go to youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. We're looking to add every Giants fan worldwide. Help us get to 5,000 subscribers. If you're looking for a Giants channel on YouTube that does nothing but cover the latest news and rumors, this is your one-stop shop, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and you are watching New York Giants Now. And if you missed it, if you've been sleeping under a rock, Joe Judge officially has been fired as the Giants head coach. John Mara did say that he wants to hire a general manager before they hire a head coach, which I think could come within a week, and then probably a week after that, the Giants will hire a head coach. But in today's video, we have 10 candidates to go over, so let's get to it. My first candidate that I think is absolutely the man for this job, the Giants, they should give him a blank check. Whatever they got to do to get him in here, do it, and that's Jim Harbaugh, currently the head coach for Michigan. And I think his track record at this point speaks for itself. What he was able to do when he took over the San Francisco 49ers in 2011. Remember, the Niners hadn't made the playoffs since 2002, and in his first season, he got them to the conference championship. His second season, he got them to the Super Bowl. In his third season, they got back to a conference championship. The things he was able to do and get out of Alex Smith is absolutely phenomenal. He got every single ounce of juice out of Alex Smith. The prior 6 offensive coordinators were there. They couldn't do so. If Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future for the New York Giants, I think Jim Harbaugh would absolutely be able to get the best out of him. Harbaugh is considering a return to the NFL and told a recruit he would entertain NFL job offers, turned around the 49ers, and he has an identity and is a program builder. And I think those are the two most important characteristics the Giants need to have and look for in their next head coach candidate. And he's also been linked to the Raiders and Bears as well as the New York Giants. What has Harbaugh done in his career? He's won absolutely everywhere. He started at San Diego 29-6, took over at Stanford as the head coach 29-21. The year before he took over at Stanford, they were 1-11, and then he quickly turned that program around. Then he went to the 49ers, 3 straight conference championship appearances, and I think he's just an offensive mastermind that would fit really well and be a key figure in a Giants rebuild. He's also got the Michigan Wolverines back on top of the Big Ten, finally beat Ohio State. Is now the time for Harbaugh to bolt back to the NFL? Have they peaked at Michigan? Something we will continue to closely monitor. And I want to touch back on this tweet that was released back in January 4th. The first half of the tweet, it doesn't matter, but this is what Adam Rittenberg that I think it said that is very important. I'd heard the Giants job could have interest if it was open. That's important. That's a reputable source, and I really believe the Giants need to start acting like the old New York Football Giants and be a proud franchise. They're one of the most storied franchises in the NFL, and it's time to start acting like it. But let me know, guys. I want to know where all of you sit on this topic. We've gone back and forth in the comments. He's my number one candidate, but I want to know what you have to say. Should the Giants hire Jim Harbaugh? Type Y for yes or type N for no. My second candidate for the Joe Judge replacements is Doug Pederson, the ex-head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl winning head coach. He coached the Eagles from 2016 to 2020, and he was eventually fired after a record of 42-37-1. 5 seasons with Philly, and he's the anti-Joe Judge. What do I mean by that? He is a player's coach, someone that players like to play with, hang out with outside of the locker room, go get dinner with, go to the bar with. Joe Judge, he wasn't that. While he did get the best and the most effort out of some players, there was a strong disconnect with the other half of the locker room, and that's a problem. Another thing that I really like about Doug Pederson, he is a Super Bowl winning head coach, and I believe that's someone that the Giants should target. They need to get someone. I'm tired of these reaches and Joe Judge and Ben McAdoo and Pat Shurmur. Get an established head coach, someone that's won at the highest level, and Doug Pederson has done that when he beat Bill Belichick in Super Bowl 52 with a backup quarterback. He's a really innovative offensive mind. He's a risk taker, and he's a go-getter, and that's what New Yorkers are. They need to go out and claim what's theirs, and I think Doug Pederson would be a prime candidate to be the next Giants head coach. Candidate number 3, Brian Daboll, currently the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and I have him up at number 3 for a couple of reasons. What he's been able to do with Josh Allen, you can't knock. What Josh Allen has turned into is a top 5 NFL quarterback, and 3 years ago, he just wasn't that. The Bills' offense the last 2 seasons ranked second and third in points per game. He's turned that offense around. Once they got a number 1 receiver there in Stephon Diggs, that offense took off. One thing that does concern me, though, is the lack of ability or want to be able to run the ball in Buffalo. That's one thing that holds me back. But a reason that I have him at number 3 is because Joe Schoen just finished up his interview to be the next Giants general manager, and there are reports coming out that Joe Schoen is the favorite, and if he comes, he is most likely to bring Brian Daboll with him. Daboll also was the NFL Assistant of the Year in 2020. I think he has 100% submitted himself as one of the top head coach candidates in this year's head coaching carousel, and someone to definitely monitor, especially if the Giants hire Joe Schoen. I want to ask you guys this question. We'll touch on Brian Flores in just one quick second, but answer this. Pick a head coach for me. Type DB for Brian Daboll or BF for Brian Flores, who was recently fired by the Miami Dolphins. Head coaching candidate number 4, you guessed it, Brian Flores. A lot of you guys in the comment section of yesterday's Joe Judge breaking news of being fired asked about Brian Flores, and I thought about it, and I do think he would be a good coach for the New York Giants. He's a Brooklynite, a native New Yorker, but one thing that does concern me, he's another Bill Belichick disciple. 24-25 in 3 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, but in the last 2 years, they went 19-14, finishing with 2 winning records. He's a strong defensive mind, and the players loved him. Another thing that really concerns me is he didn't really get along with the current general manager for the Miami Dolphins in Chris Grier. Kind of like Joe Judge, he wanted more power and more say-so, but I read an article today that every player that's on the Miami Dolphins got approved by Brian Flores, so that's a little bit concerning for me. You already had player personnel, and there was a power struggle between you and the general manager. Another concern I have with Brian Flores is he cycled through offensive coordinators during his time with Miami. That's a big concern. That's a position Joe Judge could not have gotten right. There were rumors that Jason Garrett was thrusted onto Joe Judge, but in this league, you have to have a strong play caller, and Brian Flores has not shown the ability to hire someone that can do that. So let me know. Get your votes in. Should the Giants hire Brian Flores? His name's hot right now. He's already scheduled, or I'm not sure if he has interviewed already with the Chicago Bears, but let me know. Type H for hire or type P for pass. Head coach candidate number 5 on the Joe Judge replacements list is Jim Caldwell, the ex-head coach for the Indianapolis Colts and the Detroit Lions. His time with the Colts, he went 26-22. But those first 2 seasons, they were great. They went 14-2, and they did have Peyton Manning, so I understand if a lot of you guys just want to say, he had Peyton Manning, that's why he was great. But the record, it's not as good as it should have been because the last year Peyton Manning didn't play due to that neck injury, and they ended up picking first in the NFL draft. Something that I love about him, he had an above 500 record as the Lions head coach from 2014 to 2017, going 36-28. Another thing that I like about him, he's a proven play caller. When he was with the Detroit Lions in 2017, they scored 25.6 points per game, which is 7th in the NFL. Someone that's shown the ability to score points, call plays, and connect with good quarterbacks. Peyton Manning, Joe Flacco, and Matthew Stafford are all quarterbacks that Jim Caldwell has worked with, and he is also a program builder. A no-nonsense type of guy, but also a player's coach that gets the most out of his guys. Jim Caldwell is someone that I think all Giants fans should do more research on and get to know, because I can almost guarantee you he will be interviewed to be the next Giants head coach. Other Giants head coach candidates, Kellen Moore is on that list, number 1 for me. What he's been able to do with the Dallas Cowboys offense this year, it's really amazing. The Dallas Cowboys had 22 different offensive players score touchdowns this year. The Giants, they scored 23 offensive touchdowns in total. Pretty embarrassing if you ask me. I like what Kellen Moore's been able to do. When they have to run the ball, they can, and he's shown the ability to get the ball to different players and open spaces and have them be really good playmakers. Mike McDaniel, number 2 on this list, the current offensive coordinator for the 49ers. He doesn't call plays, but he is the run game coordinator, and that kind of scares me a little bit. I want someone that's proven, that has a head coach resume in his past. Mike McDaniel doesn't have that in the NFL, but he is one of the youngest and brightest minds in the NFL, and the 49ers run game is one of the best in the NFL. And if he were to be the next Giants head coach, maybe he could get Saquon Barkley back on track. Number 3, Eric Bieniemy, the current offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Another drawback for me with Bieniemy, he doesn't call the plays for the Chiefs. For the past 2 off seasons, he's gone through head coach interviews. He hasn't been hired. That kind of concerns me a little bit. Maybe he's not a great interviewer. I'm not exactly sure what the reason is, but I do believe he could be a guy that could get an interview for the New York Giants. Number 4, Josh McDaniels. His resume, in my opinion, as the New England Patriots offensive coordinator, speaks for itself. His time when he was the head coach for the Denver Broncos, it didn't go well. He did get him to the playoffs, but it ended badly. But since he's gotten to New England, that offense has consistently been a top 5 unit. And what he's been able to do with Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback, speaks volumes to me. And as a coach like Josh McDaniels, his resume speaks for himself as one of the best play callers in the National Football League. And he's a multiple type of play caller. His game plan can change every week, and he preaches versatility, something I really like in my offensive coordinator or potential head coach. Number 5, Byron Leftwhich. My only drawback is he's the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady. So how much does he really do? I don't want to discredit Byron because he is one of the youngest and brightest minds and offensive coordinators in the National Football League, but it's easy to lean on Tom Brady when you have questions, but it also is a plus because he has learned a lot from Tom Brady. But these are the 5 guys besides the prior 5 guys that I think could be in line to be interviewed to be the next Giants head coach. The next Giants head coach odds, these are pretty important, I think somewhat funny to me. Brian Daboll and Eric Bieniemy, they are at the top of the list. They are both plus 300. Third place, Doug Pederson is coming in at plus 500, as well as Jim Harbaugh. Those are the top 4. Byron Leftwhich is also plus 500. Jim Caldwell, he's plus 550. Kellen Moore, plus 650. And Todd Bowles, the current Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator, he is also plus 700. And then Patrick Graham, currently the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. I don't see him being back with the Giants next year unless Brian Flores is the head coach for the Giants, and that's because he has ties to Flores, and he was the Dolphins defensive coordinator before joining the New York Giants. Brian Flores, he's 14-1 odds, and Josh McDaniels is currently 16-1 odds. Sound off for me. Who do you want to be the next Giants head coach? We just presented you guys with 10 names. Maybe there's more people out there that you're interested in. Someone else you want to be the Giants head coach. Get your votes in. Let me know. Who do you want to be the next Giants head coach? As the GM cycle and GM search continues, the head coach search continues, I'll be tweeting it all day long, breaking it down. So hit me up and give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_.